Hi there, this is Karen, and I'm here with my buddy Whiskey Sour, who is looking especially droopy today. I think he's a little sleepy. I know that feeling all too well. Thanks. I I wrote a blog today called "Do You Love Someone But You Don't Like Them?" This was a question that somebody asked me on Facebook. She said, "Do you believe that it is possible to love someone and not like them?" I don't have an answer for this. Uh, it's a question that I understand, though. I just instinctively get it. As soon as she said it, I get it. So she communicated it well. I just don't know that I necessarily have an answer. I get it because I've been there, so I know what she means. Uh, she asked me this while going through some drama with her sister. Her sister drinks. She's verbally abusive, and she ends up locking herself away from her in seclusion. And I've definitely thought about this question in the past. Whenever I was dealing with drunk people that I knew, I would have a very clear understanding, just like our friend does, that when someone drinks and gets abusive, it's not necessarily indicative of their personality, but I always call alcohol truth serum. You know, it's just you at least get a more colorful version of their truth. So, but in all fairness, I've been around enough alcoholics to know that alcoholism is a disease, it is a sickness, and it is something that the person who's doing it does not necessarily like about themselves. It's a sickness they have to deal with. So I do understand that. Just want to be clear that I have a full understanding of that. Like half my family, you know, was drinking at one point. So I do understand that it's they're drinking their truth serum. Some nasty things come out, some abusive things come out, but it's not necessarily who they are. Take all the alcohol away and all that. It's not necessarily who they are, and so I do understand that. But in the same token, it doesn't excuse it. So, but that's not. I'm not covering that particular topic today. She wasn't asking me if she should stay there or if she would leave. That's a that's a totally separate topic that I think she actually has a good grip on. So she has an idea that's not functional, but rather she asked me a question about what I thought. Just, do you believe it's possible to love someone and not like them? And she was referencing this situation. I guess technically you can like someone but not love them. You know, I think this happens to us in high school. We like that guy, but we don't love them and all this. But I don't know that it's possible to love someone and not like them. But it's a very debatable question indeed. I think I'd like to hear all your thoughts out there on it because it really is a deep, deep topic. But I do know where she's coming from when she says this. I think there's true love, and then there is loving somebody out of duty. And I suspect this is what is happening. This happens a lot with family. We don't get to pick our family. I've mentioned this before where we can choose our friends, but we can't choose our family. And we're called to love everyone. You know, it's important that we love everyone. And I think that's a worthy goal to set out to make sure that we show love. But I think it's maybe better to face the reality that just because someone is our family doesn't mean we are going to naturally feel love towards them. And for me, whenever I had to deal with the family in a parallel situation like this, I would always think, God, I have to be in the middle of this. You know, I couldn't handle it. And then I'd look at the person who was just doing this and just be like, oh, I don't like you. You know, you just have that feeling when you look at them. And I'd get sick to my stomach. And it's an awful feeling. And the hardest part for me was trying to maintain love for someone who was going through alcoholism or drugs. And that's the hard part. Now, what I suspect, and I could be so far off base, is that her friend is feeling guilty for just simply not liking her sister. And she feels called to love her. She knows that that's something we're all called to do and we're supposed to be doing. So I don't believe it's her fault. Like I said, we don't get to pick our family. But I had to ditch the family element altogether from my mind whenever I was dealing with problems because society has put this huge guilt trip on us. They say, that's your blood. Blood stays together. And then you're just like, okay, it's my blood. I got to stick this out. Or it's my family. I got to stick this out. And I love commitment. And I love when families love each other and stick with it. That's awesome. But I find the statement troubling and controlling. I used to think this way, and I still find myself thinking this way, that my recent truth is my siblings and other family members are actually not my problem. They are my family, but they are not my problem. And sure, I love them, but they are adults who get to make adult decisions. And I have to release them of that and release my control in that. And siblings tend to see each other as children forever. That's the problem is, when I was talking about my brother and I say crazy carpeting, and then when you get older, it's like, you still see the boy on the crazy carpet. Well, he's a man now, he's a full-grown man. And same with other siblings and my cousins and other family members. We grow up, but yet we still see them as that child. And sometimes it takes decades to realize, oh, they grew up. Oh, they have their own family. Oh, they own a house. They have a business, that they're adults now. But more than that, it takes us too long to recognize that siblings are other human beings. And until I could ditch this word family, when trying to assess my own situations and just look at the situation for what it was, I just couldn't get a grip on it until I did that. So I feel like I was very tied down to family duty. I hated that I was supposed to like people who I just didn't like them very much. They were people I would choose to be around. And I hate that I had to hang out with family who I had absolutely nothing in common with. There's certain people that you just think, oh, but that's your family, you got to be with them and stuff. I see no problem in being civil or showing decency and love to those around us. But nobody should feel guilty about not wanting to be around someone who is clearly damaging to their spirit. I don't think you should feel guilty for that. And unfortunately, I don't have a clear answer to this question or even a concrete opinion. Do you believe it's possible to love someone and not like them? But funny enough, I know exactly what she meant by it, because it's that little conundrum that you find yourself in with family who are like this. You can look at your sibling and love them because you're supposed to and just not like them very much, but I suspect, though, this sense of duty is what keeps us in really unhealthy situations. This, oh, that's your blood. Blood stays together. And I also suspect that we might see glimmers of hope, excuse me, and subtle reminders of who they used to be before drugs and alcohol. That's the hurtful part. That's the part that makes us hurt. And they might have really good days where you go, oh, there you are, I see you again. And I'm a hopeful spirit. I like to believe everyone will find their inner child again and return to the person that they're supposed to be or become the person they're supposed to be. But I certainly don't make it my responsibility anymore. I don't have to face any guilt when it comes to my family. They are adults. My siblings, my cousins, my aunts, uncles, these are all adults who get to make their decisions, and I can recognize codependence when I see it. I'm not saying this person here is in a codependent relationship, but I am. It's just, I recognize it when I see it. I think that we have to continue to guard our spirits and just be really conscious of what is potentially damaging. So we want to make sure that we don't become like them. So that's the balance. You don't want to become like them by stooping down to their level and yelling back and being abusive back and all those things. But in the same token, there's many ways to love someone that society doesn't remind us of. And intervention is a form of love. It really is. We're just programmed to believe that the best way to love someone unconditionally is to be their soundboard and their punching bag. That's not love. That's not even helping them. It's far less helping you. I remember this song, Cruel to Be Kind. Does that date me? And I remember it coming on the radio, and I remember asking my mom what that meant. I thought that was the most confusing statement I've ever heard, cruel to be kind. She said, well, it's like when I take you to the dentist, and he has to drill into your teeth. That means I love you. It's just like, I got it right away. I totally knew what she meant right away. So sometimes we have to make very tough calls about our relationships that feel cruel, but they are a form of love. So I don't envy our friend for having to make these tough decisions that she has to make. But I unfortunately don't have a really concrete answer to it. I just get it. I just get it. So I think that there's probably some family guilt involved that's making her feel that way. That's what I suspect. And I could be way off base with that. But I signed off today on my Do You Love Someone But You Don't Like Them blog. Wondering if Billy Idol is still on my orthodontist ceiling. When I would go in and sit in my orthodontist chair, I'd look up at the ceiling and there was a big poster of Billy Idol Rebel Yell up on the ceiling. I think he did that to make all his people, all his kids coming in and make his office seem really cool or something. But he seemed like a real cruel person in my life. Him and my dentist did. I also have a quote from P.J. O'Rourke that says, "Family love is messy, clinging, and of an annoying and repetitive pattern, like bad wallpaper." You gotta laugh at it. You just gotta laugh at it. There's been a million jokes. Bill Cosby tells a lot of them about family because they're really funny. They're kind of something we just sort of have to deal with and we get hurled into and we don't really want to necessarily. But once we become adults, we do get to make adult decisions. And some of them is that kind of cruel to be kind thing, you know, some of that tough love has to come out. And certainly when something is damaging to our spirit, I don't think we have to put up with it. And that's just my big fat opinion. So, sorry I don't have a direct answer about it, but I'm sure it's definitely something that everyone has a lot of opinions on, and I would like to hear that, because I think there's more people facing this than not with someone in their family. It might even be a spouse, but there's definitely a lot of people probably facing this kind of question. So I would love to hear from you. So if you guys could leave some comments so that she can see it, and maybe other people who are also going through this can hear from you as well, that'd be awesome. All right. So I will tune in with you guys again tomorrow. I hope that you have an excellent, excellent day and everything's going well with you. And I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. So can you wake up for a second, Whiskey? Oh, what a sweetie. Rock on, guys.